Welcome back to the Rugby Oaks. My name is Matt, and I'm here to talk you through Rassie's latest squad to face the Pumas this weekend with the Rugby Championship on the line, as well as the ability to lose our first place in the world. Well, let's dive straight into it, guys. Couple of things. 10 changes to the starting lineup this week and 2 changes to the bench, or 2 new people onto the bench. So Rassie's playing with his food again, guys. He's so desperate to build the squad depth ahead of the 2027 World Cup, and rightfully so, that he wants to test these youngsters. I mean, there's no surprise, really, all the changes with the squad that he took over there. Maybe a couple of surprises like Siya Kolisi travelling with the squad, but not being selected for the game. In fact, Salman Marat will take the captain's armband and start at number 4, I think it is. Yeah, number 4 again for the first time since Australia. The second test against Australia, where a similar kind of B team, for want of a better word, started and had a really good game. So lots on the line this weekend. Let's dive straight into it, guys. Number 1, Ox in chair. We're keeping the anchor of the scrum, the best scrummager in the world at the moment. He's starting, and he's going to go hell for leather at the Argentines, who are a big pack. They're good at scrummaging, we know that. Joined by Malcolm Marx last week on the bench. That impact, that try at the end or in the second half of the game was so important. But Marx starting, getting his opportunity to pull that number 2 shirt on, which is fantastic to see. Thomas du Toit in at number 3, the Bath prop sensation. He's had an unbelievable season in the Premiership, and he's really chomping at the bit after missing out at the last World Cup. Remember, he was there in 2019, unlucky to miss out last time round, and still quite young. I think he's under 30, getting the chance to stamp his name on that Bok front row, starting in a number 3 shirt. Now, it's good to note that out of the starters in the forwards from last week that are retained, there were 3 of them. So Ox we've talked about. Next one is Nokia at number 5. He's had a great season, not his rookie season because he's had caps before, but had a great season so far this year, really standing up when needed. And I think he's going to have another great performance from then. Also, Jasper Visser at 8 at the back of the scrum, held in his position, that traditional number 8. He's going to be powerful, he's going to be strong, and he's back in there. We've also, of course, got Ben Jason Dixon and Marco van Staden, who have come from outside of the squad last week into the squad, straight into the starting lineup. Marco van Staden, Eskom, knocking your lights out. He's going to go hell for leather. He's been unlucky to miss out on the selection for the All Blacks with Sia's injury, where he was selected and he wasn't selected, and then he was out the squad. Ben Jason Dixon, who had a worrying game against the All Blacks, this first worrying game in a box shirt, but is definitely going to come out, play that Peter Steph du Toit role that he really wants to strive to, and hopefully make a good impression. Now, guys, that's the forwards done. Before we carry on, I'm helping you, giving you all the information. You help us, you help me. Please hit that subscribe button. If you like spending time with us, if you like watching our content, please help the channel grow. Join the Rugby Oaks community. Now, on to the backs, guys. 2 backs retained in the starting lineup from last week. That's Pollard and Kriel, Jesse Kriel. Pollard at number 10. With him is going to be Kobus Reinach at 9 for that 9-10 axis. Probably adding a little bit of stability, a little bit of kind of veteran presence at the start of that back line. Number 11, Makazole Mapimpi, fresh, out of the birth of his child a couple of weeks ago that made him miss the All Blacks game, and rightfully so. He's now been on the plane. He's in Argentina, and he's ready to carve up that back line and score a couple of tries, because of course we know his try scoring record. We know what he can do when that back line is clicking. Jesse Kriel and Lukhanyo Am is playing at 12. Remember, Lukhanyo Am started his career at 12, so really fun to see how he will perform there. Of course, with Jesse Kriel, they're the 2 of them, such fantastic athletes. I've got no kind of qualms with having them, in the starting lineup. Certainly, I'm playing potentially slightly out of position. Curtly Aronsa on the wing at number 14, pocket rocket, back where he belongs. He's going to be absolutely sensational, I'm sure. Again, his try scoring record, I think it's 17 tries, 19 tests. Hopefully, he can get a couple of meat pies this weekend and top that up. And then number 15, really excited to see Apalele Fassi getting another start. He's been, what does George call him, the weekend special. He's been absolutely fantastic. Fassi Airlines this whole season. Had a couple of yellow cards, unluckily, but actually his gameplay has been really great, dynamic, really fast runs, good on defense, great under the high ball as well. Cannot wait to see what he's going to bring on Saturday. Moving on to the bench, guys. Before we do, if you haven't subscribed and you're still watching, come on, hit that button. Get in the Rugby Oaks community. But onto the bench, guys. Two changes, or two people brought in. Firstly, Jan Henrik Wessels from the Bulls. Interestingly, only played at prop for the Springboks before, but we know he plays hooker and prop. He's covering hooker in this match. It's going to be really fun to see him adapt and him rise to that challenge. We've got Gerard Steenekamp and Vincent Koch. Steenekamp, fair play to the guy. He's absolutely... He's not put a foot wrong. He's been fantastic for the Boks. Vincent Koch, we know, potentially at the twilight of his career, but we know what he brings in that stability in the bomb squad. Irban Etzebeth obviously started last week. He's on the bench this week. He will, when he runs on, get his 127th cap, which will tie the all-time Springbok record with Victor Matfield. Matfield spoke this week, and said it was an absolute honour for the best of the business to match his records, and ultimately going to beat his record with Etzebeth still having years left in his tank. And I'm sure next weekend there'll be a big celebration and he'll be starting at home for that record. 20 Aurich, again, a player who's done really well to take that step up to international level in 2024. He's not put much of a foot wrong. He's abrasive. He likes a step. He likes a barge. It's a slightly different number 8 to maybe what we've been used to in the form of Dwayne Vermeulen in the past, in the form of Jasper Visser at the moment. But it's something that's quite fun to play with. But he's not quite the rangy Ivan Roos or the Kankowski, if we remember it, but maybe more like a Pierce Spies type with that electric pace, nice and built, really strong. Could be a fun one to watch off the bench. Kwagga Smith at 21, whether he's going to come in at 8, come in at 7, depending on how they want to play Aurich, doesn't really matter. This guy, we know, we've talked about him at nauseum. He is probably the best bench player in the history of bench players, and he is one of my, I think he's one of everyone's favorite players, old Kwagga. Jaden Hendrickse maintains his position off the bench at number 9. I quite like that selection. A little bit more conservative, going with Kobus Reinach starting, but also showing that Rassie is still doing his moving his selections around to make sure everyone gets their game time. Jaden needs to work his way back into the squad. I thought he did okay last week against New Zealand. Of course, you beat New Zealand. He did fantastically, but it's probably good to give him 20-30 minutes in the second half. And Manie Libbok, he's been pushed to the side since the World Cup. We all know about his kicking woes, but we also all know about his dynamic playmaking. And Manie's going to come on. He's going to get his time back at number 10. I think the last time he played was against Australia, if I remember correctly. He is probably down at the third choice now with the rise of Feinberg Mngomezulu. But I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch him play in. I think what they'll probably do is move 100 to 12, keep the kicking boots on him, and have Manie play at 10, unless they decide to test him at fullback. But that would, for me, be the kind of sensible thing to do. Bearing in mind they've left Sasha at home, so he's completely out of the squad. He's getting his rest, and he'll probably start against the Pumas next week. So Manie, my bet to come in at 10 off the bench, and Pollard to move so that Manie doesn't have to worry about the kicking if it is a one score match or something like that, but let the guy play to his strengths. That's it, guys. That's the match day 23. Get your predictions in the comments below. Let me know what you like about the squad. Let me know what you hate about the squad. Is Rassie mad making 12 combined changes in a match day 23? I don't know. I love to see it. It's always a little bit of drama when it comes to Rassie's match day squads. But let us know in the comments what you think. Please, if you're still here, if you're still watching, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to raise this community up and bring you some more awesome content. Really appreciate you spending the time with us. Have a good evening.